Hey guys, Dino here, and welcome back to Dead Space 2 Part 14. So, I'm trying to think of where we left off. I think I just crashed that big bulldozer through, and we're breaking into government sector? Something like that. Anyway, back to the good stuff. So, I think I've had a lot of people ask me if I'm planning to play a BF3, and yes, absolutely. Thought I mentioned that I was a little skeptical of it, but I'm very skeptical of it, but I'm most likely be picking it up either way. I'm really hoping it's just not dog shit, and I really want something that I can sink quite a few hours to, and just basically dominate. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see here. Somebody else was asking what I thought of Monday Night Combat, and to me, I think Monday Night Combat is very, very similar to Team Fortress 2. It falls along those lines of a very, very heavily team-based game. That being said, I have played with XCal, and I have seen him do exceedingly well. I've also seen individuals do exceedingly well in Team Fortress 2 as well. It's not to say that you can't, it's just that, I don't know, I think XCal definitely has a lot of hours into it, and especially on the PC version, where the game came out not too long ago. His experience really shows. A game like Battlefield, your team could lose and you could consistently do extremely well the whole time. Became frustrating sometimes because people, became known as quote-unquote point whores, where, they would refuse to basically help out the team and they would only play for themselves. And what this meant was basically they would take kills and stuff like that, but they would never go for flag caps. So, they get all the points and stuff like that, and their KD ratio is disgustingly amazing, but, your team gets annihilated. Where even XCal, who has a large chunk of hours into a Monday Night Combat, I've seen him get his socks blown off because his teammates are just chugging piss. There's nothing he can do either for his team or for himself. I've only put a few hours into it, but my impression of it is that there's no way I'm going to be able to get behind it. There's way too much gimmicky bullshit going on with it. I'm not a big fan of the grabs. I'm not a big fan of the bots. And the reason why I'm not a big fan of the bots is just because the game is sort of kind of reminds me of League of Legends. And I'll probably touch on one of those problems about League of Legends later. But it's the, I don't know what you call it, the snowball effect, I guess is the best way to describe it. That, the competition is most fierce basically when the game first starts out, and when one team builds up this greater snowball, the other team really has no way to come back and win, or it's, very, very, very unlikely. Whereas, in a game like 42 or something, once again, you have different conquest points scattered around the map, and the more points you're attempting to lock down, the more you spread yourself thin, the thinner you spread yourself, I guess. And it becomes increasingly hard to do that. It's really hard to just shut out somebody and completely dominate them, and there's very little snowball effect to the game, and I really like that. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the we get the edge in the first 10 minutes, and as a result of us gaining the initial edge, you're fucked in the ass, and there's nothing you can do for the rest of the game. Might as well just quit. And that's kind of what it feels like. It's also what it feels like in Left 4 Dead, which is why, in the first 10 minutes, if it's obvious that somebody's losing, there's no point to sticking around. And same deal in Monday Night Combat. If your teammates are absolutely atrocious, there's not anything you do for them and nothing you can do for yourself, why bother stick around? So that is one of the huge downsides to basically a game that just too heavily emphasizes the team-based aspect, as well as like I said, they lower that skill cap ratio for everybody involved, but I don't know, harder to say for Monday Night Combat because I just don't have many hours into it at all. Also, I listened to my video yesterday, and I wanted to touch on it a bit more of what the feeling or sensation is like when I'm talking about when I'm playing a game that I love, and I'm getting really into it, and I have a lot of hours, you know, some experience, got skills, got all the good stuff going, because I didn't want it. It sounded like I was chewing my own horn, and I don't know, I mean, maybe to an extent I was, but it really is this bizarre sensation when you're sort of detached. And this upcoming scene is basically the best possible way that I can describe it.
Monkey Man. Anything you got to say to them? Say to me first. Sure you can. You can take it because you got no choice. How'd you like to spend 24 hours of it lying in some muddy ditch with nothing but the rotten corpses of your friends to keep you company?
What are you talking about?
I was in Nam back in '72. I was trapped behind enemy lines with my entire squad dead. They thought they had killed everyone. Me. It was right. But it wasn't for their lack of trying. A grenade blew up right beside me. That's why I'm so pretty. And they started pushing all them bodies in on top of me. And all I could do was lay there, play possum, listen to the enemy joke, laugh. So I finally climbed out of this hole. I sneaked up on the enemy while he was sleeping. And I killed 1, 2, 3, 4. I came to my senses. I realized I'd killed the entire VC squad, single-handed. There was blood and chunks of yellow flesh clinging to my bayonet.
Okay, so the whole point of showing that clip was, you know, this guy obviously tells this ridiculous scene of where he wakes or in Vietnam or something like that, and you know his entire platoon is destroyed, and you know he just goes fucking ballistic, and all he can see is red. And when he comes to, he's killed an entire VC squad. And I think that's kind of what I was trying to get across, is like that level to me of like getting, not just getting in the zone or something like that, but it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. It's, you know, you just feel completely unstoppable, and like I said, you're playing and just not even thinking, and it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. And you know, you're doing stuff where, you know, once you get done, however your run ends or whatever, you're just like, I cannot believe that just happened. It's anyway, it's just, it's a really, really, really cool feeling. You know, it's just like everybody's moving in slow motion, and you're, you know, like I said, you just cannot be stopped. There's nothing anybody can do to you. It's like I said, it's a place, I guess, that I feel like I can only get to, you know, when it's a game I love. Like I said, I have a lot of hours into it, and haven't been able to get there for a while because I haven't done either of that. It hasn't been a game I can really get behind, and definitely haven't put many hours into just about anything. So That's more what I was trying to say. I didn't mean it to sound like I was bragging or something like that. I really feel like it is something that'll just be incredible to actually watch, and I'm looking forward to capturing those moments on video. Let's see, what else? Oh, somebody else was talking about, was I in 20 ID with XCal? Yes, we were in 20 ID together. We met back in Battlefield 42, played on some of the same teams. Largely, actually, we played on opposite teams. But regardless of what team we were on, we just about always pub together. So, and then I made my own team in Battlefield 1942. And then when Battlefield Vietnam came around, 20 ID needed a few extra guys, and anyway, I decided to take basically the best guys from our team and merge them with 20 ID's BF Vietnam team. So there are, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us that ended up coming over. And yeah, so we joined up with their team, and essentially 20 ID, well, yeah, we had the most amount of guys on their entire team, and you know, we called ourselves 20 ID, but essentially it was my own Battlefield team, and yeah, we did really, really well. So I left this part in the game because I wanted to show you that it's really frustrating. You can't kill these guys, and I don't know why. It'd be really exciting. I think it would have been a fun little mix-up to actually kill some human guys as opposed to just the necromorphs the entire time, and there's nothing you can do. So figure I'd give it a go. I mean, I hit him with, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those bombs. It should have been enough to at least dent something, and you can't do anything. Kind of frustrating. I mean, I'm sure as you've noticed, especially if you've played the game, let alone watched the videos, but you know, like I said, the whole suspenseful, scary sort of atmosphere they had going on in the first half of the game, you know, the farther you go through it, the more and more it goes out the window. And if their reasoning behind not wanting you to fight these guys was to preserve that atmosphere, then, you know, they really should have tested their own game a little bit more, because it hasn't been there for a long time. So, oh well. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, a few more questions about the WoW stuff. No, I'll go back to League of Legends. So the WoW stuff, like I said, I played on and off for actually quite a while. WoW really just doesn't do it for me either. It's just not engaging. It's a point-and-click based game. I mentioned in the comments a while ago on some random video that you know, experience does not guarantee to make you a great player, but there are no great players that do not have basically excessive amounts of experience. It's just simply not possible. The more experience you have with a game just increases your chances of doing well in just about everything. It allows you to focus on, you know, the gameplay itself, as opposed to like wondering where you're going to go next. You already know where you're going to go. You already know how long the vehicle respawns are, how much damage the weapons do. And there's a lot to figure out. And once you have all that stuff down, I mean, you make it look, you know, you're head and shoulders above everybody else already. Like, you already have such a huge advantage just by having that. And very few people even get to that point. So once you do, you're already in the top tier. And anyway. So yeah, League of Legends, one thing I wanted to go back to that. League of Legends can be very frustrating, similar to other, like I said, heavily team-based games, especially as far as the PvP stuff goes. For 2 reasons. Number one, well, I'll start off with the lesser of the two, I guess, but very, very, very frustrating. There's nothing you can do in League of Legends PvP if you play with 1, 2, 3, even 4 good guys, but the 5th guy is just feeding them the whole time. You know, it makes for an incredibly, ridiculously frustrating scenario. I mean, what do? You know, they can just, the one doofus on your team is building up a beast on theirs, and then he's just smashing your friggin' balls all day long. So, pretty ridiculous. WoW actually has a very similar problem. You know, people look at a game like WoW and are like, oh, it's so basic, it doesn't take much skill, and I agree with that, that, like, the potential for WoW is limited. Like, I don't think, you know, as someone who's played literally, like, world-class, I would argue world-class video games. I mean, we had a world tournament, Battlefield Vietnam. It doesn't get any more competitive than that, playing Germany and Switzerland and God knows who else was in there. I don't remember. But, like, you know, my skill is going to waste on that game. Like, the majority of what I'm doing is basically, the majority of what separates a good person from a bad person at WoW is knowing how to set up your character, knowing what rotation to use, and that actually isn't as easy as it sounds. It's really difficult. If it was really easy, everybody would be doing maximum DPS all the time, and it never ever happens. Even getting a group of 5 guys together to do a smooth run is almost impossibly hard. Anyone who tells you that it's easy is either running with all friends all the time or completely full of shit. I wish there was another way to do it, but there's not. This is why I was talking earlier about how, you know, ideally matchmaking software would eliminate some of these problems, but to date, like, no one has created amazingly efficient matchmaking software that I know of. I actually, somebody on one of my websites talked about the Halo series, and I don't have a lot of experience with Halo after the first one, because that was when I moved away from consoles. But so maybe they did a better job of it, but yeah, I don't know. WoW can't do it, Left 4 Dead can't do it, and the reason why COD is the way it is because, you know, they were like, fuck it, we can't do it either, so we're just going to cater to the lowest common denominator. The second, and I feel like greater problem, or, you know, more frustrating problem in League of Legends is the last hit stuff. So, last hitting, just like Team Deathmatch, just by having that as an aspect of your game, you create all sorts of fucked up problems that you otherwise would not have if that wasn't there. So last hitting promotes a whole bunch of jacked up shit. Basically what happens is you have a whole bunch of people who are really hesitant to run in. Nobody wants to attack first. They all want to save up their abilities to last hit and get those points. Because you can do 95% of the damage to somebody, and if you don't get the kill for it, you get, I mean, you may as well not have attacked at all. And you get, I don't know, a little bit of gold for some bullshit assist, but, you know, it just creates all this, you know, anti-team behavior. Instead of trying to figure out, good lord, look at how amazing this gun is. Why was I not using this earlier? You see, there you go. Saved my life. Should have died if I'd hit him point blank range. Damn. But because this gun doesn't blow up that yellow nutsack, you just cannot die with this gun. Absolutely amazing. Anyway. So, like I said, it just does a lot of, creates a lot of behavior that's not wanted in team play, and, you know, playing with 5 random dudes is hard enough to coordinate anything as it is, so, you know, with game modes, or, I don't know, with basically incentives to be dicks, you know, you don't need incentives to be retards, you know, playing with 5 random guys. Even with everything in your favor, it would still be impossibly tough. So I'm just not a big fan of that. I don't think it should be last hit. I don't know if it should be whoever does the most damage or something along those lines, or there should be a way to split it somehow, but oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. I had to stop recording basically mid-sentence because I ended up with a clip. It was not what it was supposed to be. Anyway, that's fixed. Moving on. So, like I said, League of Legends, the whole last hit thing is a little wonky. Like I said, it encourages some, you know, fucked up behavior in team games. It also doesn't really give people incentive to want to do like support classes or tank classes. Like, even though, you know, that idea might be fun, at the same time, like, why do you want to be a class that, you know, basically gets shafted as far as like gold goes? You know, you don't get to gear out, you don't get to play with your abilities at maximum level. You know, it makes it much less likely to be that type of class. Like I said, the abilities that end up getting favored are those abilities that, you know, are more likely to make your last hits be successful. Not even abilities that help out your team, you know. So, I'm not saying that people don't do that, it's just it makes it less likely, you know, if, you know, you have a system rewards the person who last hits the guy. You know, to go back to like a WoW-like scenario, imagine if, you know, you were doing a dungeon or something with 5 guys, and, you know, you've got experience based off of how much damage you did. Well, who would want to be a healer? I mean, nobody wants to be one as it is anyway. But imagine if it was all based off damage, and then, you know, people would be getting pissed at the healer because he's using damage spells instead of healing spells or whatever, right? It's just, it's a bizarre scenario. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Here we go. The noob tube coming out. I don't know why I keep putting it away. It's just too good. And that's what happens when you miss their legs. So it's really helpful to go back and look at this game. I mean, I think part of the reason I'm not using the noob tube is because I don't want to waste ammo, but I mean, God knows how many rounds I just threw out from a plasma cutter. I mean, it's got to be at least 30, 40. One of the cool things with it is, I mean, you don't even have to, I mean, fuck wherever the guys are at, it doesn't matter. They can attack you en masse. You can wade right in. I mean, you just aim the thing. You don't aim the thing. You just point it and shoot. You don't have to aim for stupid legs, long range, like I'm doing here. It doesn't make any sense to. I don't know why they put in this slow effect, all this bullshit that's all over the place. I remember it was in the first game, and it was just annoying as fuck. Yeah, it's just, what's the purpose? It's in one random room. All it does is just slow you around when you're trying to get a green box. Anyway, so, like I said, for similar reasons, yeah, different games have a variety of characteristics that make it hard for individuals to excel, and or like we're talking about, make it difficult to do well as a team because they reward, you know, an odd system of getting points, such as last hitting, and that's the only way to do it. There's a lot of other ways to do it. I'm not saying they'd be easy to balance or be easy to do. You know, maybe tanks get, you know, experience or points or gold or whatever based off how much damage they soak up. Maybe, well, Jesus, I don't know. It's just too hard to say. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I just don't like the way that they're doing it right now. So that's that. Ouch. So, this is another frustrating part of Dead Space 2. I think I originally ran out here and I might have died. You can't see that guy crawling, so if you just sprint out, you cannot hit these things to save my... Or I can't to save my life. You run out here and he just is crawling away. I think he spits on you and slows you down, and it's an instant death. And there's no way that you can see him until you run out and get hit by him. It just doesn't make any sense. But then you load up the game again and he's spawned right back in the same spot. It was cute. So you know he's there, and the challenge of the game is now gone. Stupid. So, anyway, in general, I enjoy games that have a team aspect to them. Like I said, after you play a conquest-style game, I think you'll find it really difficult to go back and play anything less than that ever again, because you're just missing a huge component, a dimension that makes the game so much more fun and exciting. You know, straight up. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. They're all over the place. Just a straight up TDM bullshit that you see in COD. It just really isn't engaging. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, there's, for a lot of different reasons, it just feels like it's several steps back from where they could be, and it goes in the whole idea of risk aversion. And you know what they've been doing is selling so unbelievably well. Why bother taking the risk to do something that might be better? Because their minimal amount of effort is doing exceedingly well for their company. It doesn't make any sense to try to do better. Ultimately, what will end up happening is they're going to be, well, either one of two things. I think the competition, aka Battlefield 3. And once again, I put a number of articles up on my website where the president of EA has literally said, like, quoted verbatim, saying, "We are going head to head with COD this fall. You know, our game is better, our people are better, blah blah blah." Or the other thing that might happen if Battlefield doesn't come out and stomp it is eventually people get tired of it, but it's hard to know what the sales figures are anymore. There was an article that came out, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I can't remember when it's going into effect, but sometime in the near future, basically all sales for video games are no longer being released the same way they have been. It's not to say that it won't be possible to find out about them, but they're not going to be publicly made available like they have been in the past. So that will be interesting. It'll be really hard to gauge the success of just about anything as far as video games go. I don't know. I don't know how that'll work. So I will say, even as it is, knowing the sales figures, like every month, if you look up the top 10 most popular games based on volume of sales, it's Jesus Christ. It's, you know, some version of COD, and then it's usually like the Sims and the Sims expansions, and oh my god, it's just, I look at that and vomit, right? Ugh. It is just nauseating even thinking about it now. So, just about wrapping it up for part 14. I think we should be able to get it all taken care of in the next section, and I've got some really good combat coming up with the force gun. There are large amounts of ass kicking to be had, so stay tuned, and I will see you guys next time.